I've never seen myself as just one thing, and I made sure no one else could either. By staying to myself, making my own path, rising above expectations, and opening the door for others to be their true selves. The first spirit, made with VSOP Cognac, finished in bourbon casks, Martell Blue Swift, soar beyond the expected.
Check, check. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, good day, mate. Wherever you are in the world, I am 𝐂�𝐍𝐕𝐄𝐑𝐒𝐓𝐈𝐎𝐍, and this is the Crypto and Cognac podcast, as always, coming to you live every Thursday, 7 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time from the Caribbean to your YouTube and wherever you might be listening to this after the fact, right? And today, as always, we're talking crypto, we're talking fintech, we're talking NFTs, we're talking everything in the world of blockchain and blockchain adjacent technologies. I'm here being kept company by my good friends at Martell, Mr. Blue Swift, in the VSOP mood this evening. So I'm gonna have me some of that. Always on the rocks. If you know me, that's how I have my cognac. And always my crypto conversations on the rocks as well, because you have to remember it's all about the ICE rule. It's all about information, conversation, and education. My boy Steven is already in the house. Touchdown. Steve, what up, man? Stevie Hendrix, superstar, rock star of the crypto Caribbean community. Some housekeeping, not financial advice. Nothing that we talk about this evening should be misconstrued as financial advice, right? Do your own research. You understand? Every decision you make is on you, not me, not Stevie, right? Guys, today I really wanted to follow up on a conversation that I started having earlier today. I was invited to speak at the Epicentrum conference on art and culture in the Caribbean, on the topic of the future of Caribbean art and how crypto and NFTs might have the opportunity to influence that. And unfortunately, coming out of that conversation, there were tons of questions. A lot of them weren't able to be answered. So I decided, you know what, we're going to carry on. We're going to carry over the conversation here because I think it's an important topic. We have so many amazing creatives in the Caribbean, and so many people are looking for an opportunity to change their experience as a creative in the Caribbean. You know, we all gotten so used to the idea of a starving artist. That is what we want to get away from. And we want to talk a little bit this evening about how crypto, NFTs, and even AI might be able to supplement what creatives are doing, and some of the dangers of those technology as well, you know, particularly AI as it relates to IP, some of the technology like Midjourney and how their AIs will trained. You know, we're going to try to talk about all of that. And I think it's an important conversation for the Caribbean as a whole, because the Caribbean, as you guys know, has a rich history of artistic expression, you know, from as early as the body paintings by the indigenous people, the rock art, and the vibrant colors of carnival. You know, I mean, we see so much of it, not just in the bikini mask, the big bands. We see it with some of the traditional characters in carnival as well. We see it around the music in the Caribbean. We see it around, you know, the rhythms of calypso, soca, reggae, I guess we could even include stuff like reggaeton and all of these, because these are all spin-offs from our very vibrant artistic expression here in the Caribbean. And I think within the last couple of years, well, not couple, but the last couple of decades, I should say, I think Caribbean art has really gained increased recognition and appreciation from both local and international audiences. However, with just like many other regions like Africa, even Asia, that are not part of the first world Western experience, the traditional art market in the Caribbean has faced several challenges, including limited access to galleries, auction houses, other art institutions. I mean, issues around authenticity, issues around proven provenance. And I think all of these are things that I could definitely see NFTs and crypto in general playing a major part in. Yo, what's up? What's up, Anil? Yeah, Stephen don't play. Soon as we touch down, Stephen on board. But yeah, I mean, so everybody who has paid attention to this conversation before knows what an NFT is, knows what a non-fungible token is, knows the difference between a fungible and a non-fungible token. If you don't know, we have tons of previous videos, tons of previous episodes. This is episode 21, season 3, which makes that 68. That's 81 episodes of content that you guys can go check back out to get a clearer idea, because we're not going to really spend too much of the time talking about the technicals around it. But through some of our conversations, you'll get a little bit more of an appreciation for what these things are. NFTs are basically unique digital assets that sit on top of the blockchain, right? Which is basically a secure, transparent, decentralized ledger technology, right? Each NFT is a one-of-a-kind representation of a piece of work, and that could be either an image, could be a video, it could be audio file, it could be a video file, it could be data, it could be a contract. So an NFT it's a tool. It isn't, when people in the mainstream talk about NFTs, they like to lump it all together like, JPEGs of monkeys, the be all and end all of what an NFT is. That could not be further from the truth, but we're going to talk a little bit about it and how it could play a part in the regional art space. I think the easiest way to start talking about how NFTs could benefit or how they will impact the future of Caribbean art is the ability for artists to directly monetize their work without having to have intermediaries. We talked about a little while ago about not having access to galleries and stuff like that. Maybe we don't need them, right? So I think allowing artists to be able to, like I said, directly monetize their work is one of the most, I think, important aspects of what NFTs and what crypto can do. I think this is particularly beneficial because, like I said, the Caribbean has issues with having access to traditional art institutions. Now, smart contract technology built into NFTs also allows for artists to be able to write royalties into each piece of work they sell, right? And what that also allows is for them to be rewarded from early work as they continue to build their brand, as they continue to build their name, as they continue to build equity into who they are as an artist. Because The fact of the matter is that even when we talk about the value of art, we're not talking about the cost of the canvas and the easel and the paint, because oftentimes art is sold for a lot more than the sum of the parts that make up the particular art. So what someone is basically buying when they buy art is the reputation, the brand equity, the brand recognition of the particular artist. Yes, they might love the art itself, but what gives it value to be resold and resold at a higher price has to do with the brand equity, and that's the reality of the situation. So, I always tell artists who come to me and talk about, how do I get into NFTs? Do you think NFTs are going to help me do more for my career? I always say, what, NFTs do not remove the need for you as an artist to build community, to build your brand. As a matter of fact, coming into the NFT space actually makes it even more important for you to build your brand, because now you're not just competing with the artists in your own geographical environment, but you're competing with artists from all over the world for customers from all over the world. So it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, you have access to way more collectors, but you are also competing with way more artists. So I think it's an important consideration for artists to make, for them to make that switch mentally, that this is just NFTs are a tool. Just stepping into NFTs does not automatically mean that you're going to be selling your work for 1 ETH and 2 ETH when you couldn't sell it for $10 TT previously. I feel like a whole conversation happening in the chat there without me. Anyway, let me focus on you guys. Now, one example I like to use when making reference to the value of royalties being built into work via NFTs is that of Jean-Michel Basquiat, right? Now, to be honest, I only found Basquiat because Jay-Z always talking about him on his raps, right? So that's how I was first introduced to him. But as I started getting more and more involved in the NFT space, as I started collecting art even outside the NFT space, I started paying more and more attention to him. And so he was born in 1960, unfortunately passed away in 1988, right? Didn't make it to his 30th birthday, but became known as a very prolific artist during his lifetime. He would have sold his first piece of art in 1981 for $200, right? In May 2021, one of his pieces, I think it was called In This Case or Last Case, maybe it's In This Case. Yeah, I think that's the name of it. But anyway, semantics. That piece was sold at Christie's auction in New York for $93.1 million in 2021. Now, how much of that money do you think went to his estate? Yeah, you guessed it, $0 and that's because in the traditional space, once an artist sells his art and sells that piece of art, the next person to sell it gets 100% of the value of it. So if that was an NFT, say that piece was an NFT, when he sold it, let's say that was the piece that he sold for $200. It wasn't, because in this case, I think that was created in 1983. But let's say that was sold initially for $200 as well. he would have received the $200 from that. Let's say it was sold 5 years later for $20,000, and they had a 10% royalty payment built into the smart contract associated with that NFT. He would have been sitting on home or chilling wherever, and boom, an additional $2,000 would have been sent to the wallet that would have minted that particular piece. Let's say 10 years later, it was sold for $2 million. Whoever in his estate that he would have passed that wallet to, boom, sitting at home, boom, a $200,000 payment or 10% of that $2 million sale would have been immediately sent to that wallet. And then in 2021, when that piece sold for $93 million, $9.3 million would have been immediately transferred to the wallet that would have minted that piece of work initially. And so he would be providing revenue, providing income for his family way beyond his life on earth in a very direct, automatic way. Yes, we know that his estate still is able to, have partnerships and collaborations and those kind of things that allow them to generate revenue. But in terms of receiving direct revenue rewards from his past works, it just doesn't work like that in the traditional art space. Now, in addition to royalty payments, by creating NFTs, Caribbean artists can reach global audiences, as I said, right? So whether you choose to do one-of-one pieces or facilitate editions, basically crypto allows you to reach any corner of the globe and access payment instantaneously without needing to trust a third party intermediary or without having to even trust that person. And that person doesn't have to trust you as an artist. You don't have to wait for them to transfer the funds before you ship the piece, and they don't have to wait for you to ship the piece to send the money or be worrying that, after I send this money, this man not going to ship this particular piece to me. Like, crypto NFTs removes all that headache around trust, because as soon as that payment is made, that NFT is transferred automatically. And I mean, there are so many different platforms that allow for this now. You don't need a physical store. You don't need a physical gallery. All of this can be done digitally. You could do it remotely. You could access your money remotely as an artist. You could be on vacation or in your studio, and your pieces are being sold, and those funds are being transferred to you. And there's so many different options, whether it be Magic Eden or OpenSea or Foundation or Super Rare. There are so many different platforms that you can choose from as an artist that might be, better suiting of your style, better suiting of your economic condition. So whether it's Tezos, whether it's Ethereum, whether it's Polygon, whether it's BSC, whether it's Solana, there are so many different options and avenues for you as an artist to get your work out there and receive the revenue associated with the work that you've put in. But in addition to all of that, I think one of the areas that NFTs will truly be supportive of the art space in the Caribbean, particularly because one of the areas that we tend to struggle with is that of authentication, right? Is this a real Bosco holder or Casabon, or how do you verify that? How do you validate that? And I think NFTs are a great way to do so, because NFTs keep, or should I say, blockchain keeps a record of every single transaction on the blockchain. So every single transaction of that particular NFT will be encoded onto the blockchain that is visible for everyone. So what that does is not just provide the ability for authentication, but it also proves, provenance. So let's say a piece was purchased by Justin Bieber's wallet, right? And 10 years from now, you will still be able to see that this piece was owned by Justin Bieber, and that might actually add to the value of the particular piece. Or it was stolen. Let's say a hack happened. You will see that this piece was actually a stolen piece, and it might depreciate the value. So the person who would have actually stolen it may not be able to get the value out of it. And I think that's important, and it's so important because there are a lot of conspiracy theorists out there who believe that the Mona Lisa that is being held in the Louvre right now is not the original, that it is just a really good fake, and the original is hanging in some very, very wealthy person's living room. So that would not be even a question if the Mona Lisa was an NFT. Let me just touch base with the chat there. See what Stevie Wonder is saying there. Yeah, Stevie, I mean, the unique identifier, provenance for sure. Steven, I do not think that there's any community in the world that has somebody as amazing as Steven. So Steven, I want to let you know how much I appreciate you. As a matter of fact, Steven, link up, right? I have some cognac for you, right? So the next week when we're on the conversation, I can be sure that you're having a drink with me, right? Easy like that. Let's do it. Free bags. Now, another area that I think NFTs really help with is the issue of payments. As you guys know, in the Caribbean, we still have a very huge unbanked population. We still are a very heavy cash community, right? And a lot of times it's because of all the different challenges with accessing banking accounts, because some people live in rural areas don't even have ID cards, which you need 2 plus a utility bill. Some people squatting, some people just haven't had their property regularized. It was in their great grandfather name and still in that person's name. So all these things present challenges that keep people from being able to access bank accounts. But what we do have is very, very high mobile phone penetration. And what that means is that almost everybody have access to the internet because of Wi-Fi, because it's easier to get digital internet than it is to get a bank account, right? And with that, what that means is that these people can participate in the economy. These people can now be creatives and create their own works, be able to sell their own works globally, be able to access payment for their works locally, internationally, and be able to transact with the funds that they would have accessed from being able to sell their work without having to get like infrastructure like Visa and MasterCard terminals or whatever is the case, without having to go and line up in a bank or get a bank card, find an ATM as the case may be, or even stand in line for a Western Union transfer for an international client who might be interested. So yeah, everyone has WhatsApp. Some people don't know how to use a ATM card, but they know how to text. I mean, somebody, your granny, your tanty, they always sending you a prayer in the morning, or memes. Those church memes. I mean, everybody using the internet, and with products like, Alti, who's been a supporter of this show, if you can send a text, you can send crypto using a platform like Alti. You know, all you have to do is type text /send and boom, /tip and boom, money is transferred. So I think all of those things help to really broaden the economy around art, you know, whereas individuals had to try to sell one piece for $2,000 to kind of break even on the cost of living as an artist. Now you could sell 200 people that same piece as an edition of 200 at $10 and get the same $2,000. You don't have to pay fees. All of those transactions are being done for fractions of a cent. So everybody and a lot more people in your community, even if you live in a rural community, you might have people in your community who want to support you, but no one person has $2,000 to spend on art, but everybody might have $10. You understand? We might see where schools start doing their raffles from NFTs, you know, instead of sending you around with these lines of to put five, you write your name 5 times. You just buy an NFT for the school, you know, and that NFT might give you access to the schools, what's called that, the harvest at any point of the year. Or I mean, there's so much that could be done using this technology, and I think it's definitely necessary. As it relates to the whole space, I know there's a lot of talk about AI right now in the NFT space, AI having been trained using the works of artists who were not compensated for it. How does that impact the art space? I think while AI will be beneficial to help people, you know, who might just be looking for a little picture or a little image that, you know, they just want to share for, you know, like I say, a school bazaar or something like that, and make that very, very cost effective for them. I think ultimately real collectors still want to see work that has human emotion put into it. And I think there will always be a space for real artists to express their messaging through their art. You know, I think the world really took notice of NFTs in 2021, or when people sold his Everyday's piece for 69 million. I think everybody woke up and everybody got excited, and now that has kind of trickled down where everybody feels like they could be an artist and they could put forward work. But I don't think even for AI artists, I think you still need to have a certain level of passion around it to keep doing it, because I don't think I want to be talking to Mid-Journey bot all day trying to tweak a piece just to get the exact imagery that I want, unless I'm really, really passionate about it. And yes, we know that chatbot engineering or AI engineering or what do you call it, boy? Anyway, chat engineering, I think that's what it's called. We know that's gonna have a place, but I ultimately think that the opportunities, the opportunities for the real artists way outstrip the challenges by, you know, stuff like AI. And I don't think that artists are the only ones who have to be worried. I think anybody whose business is, you know, heavily intermediary based, heavily text based, I think maybe lawyers might be more in danger of AI taking their jobs before artists, because I mean there's less creative expression in a contract than there is in, you know, a work of art. So yeah, with every tool that you use, you still need to be creative and express. So just to mind Anil business a little bit, He's a draftsman. He uses a lot of these, tools to create images around interior design, around building design. So I guess he would know more than anybody else that at the end of the day, whether you're drawing with a pencil or you're using some of these tools, you still have to put your creativity into it to be able to really attract anyone. Trying to pay attention to the chat as well as move on. But yeah, I mean, I think, there are so many people already from the Caribbean who are doing amazing work in the NFT space, who are seeing real success, whether it be, people like Bonito Thompson from Jamaica, my brother Nicholas Huggins from Trinidad, Zoe Osborne from Barbados, people like Chantal Lane who doing her thing with the music side, 𝐂𝐎𝐍 Art out of Antigua. We have Evo out of Curacao. I mean, so many people who are having success. Anya Youngchi, what she's doing with her fashion design, people like Wyatt, what he's doing with photography. I think there will always be a place for artists to really benefit from it. And like I said before, I think the benefits far outstrip the any hurdles that might have to be overcome. What's up, my boy? Issa is Mr. AI himself. He is our resident AI artist. And he's been doing some amazing things for Omega DAO. Big up men like George, Kenron, Brad, everybody in Omega, people like Nadeem, what he's doing with NYM. I mean, there's so many creatives, Days Ducks. I mean, there's so much talent, there's so much creative, there's so much collaboration coming out of the Caribbean that we've not even touched the tip of the iceberg for what is to come. And I expect that as we see adoption grow, and you guys know how I feel about that, I'm very, 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 very optimistic about what the Caribbean has to offer to this particular space and how we're going to see crypto NFTs truly benefit and uplift the Caribbean economy like no other technology has yet to do. But with that said, guys, I'm gonna call it quits tonight. Looking forward to having a guest on next week. I'm not gonna just spill the beans just yet, but it's somebody we've been meaning to have on for a while. And finally, they are gonna be on next week. Yes. So guys, thanks a lot for being with me as always. Man like Stevie Hendricks, the superstar of the crypto Caribbean family. Man like Anil, Issa, sub buddy, and everybody else who logged in. As always, feel free to hit me up in my chat on Instagram or Twitter. Let's continue the conversations there. Follow us on Twitter, Crypto Caribbean. The O in crypto is actually a 0. Hit us up on Instagram, crypto_Caribbean. We're on Facebook, Crypto Caribbean. And I am everywhere at Illuminati333. Guys, as always, adoption is inevitable. Continue to be blessed. Illuminati out.